What's up everybody, Jacob here for Apocalypse Movies, and it's that time to do our top 10 movies of 2018. Now this is my top 10 overall list. Any film released in 2018 qualifies. So here we go. I'm going to start off with a few honorable mentions. These are a few movies that were in my top 10 not too long ago until I watched certain other movies, and honestly I can't believe they're not in my top 10. One of those is Halloween. Halloween is my favorite horror franchise. I freaking love this remake, maybe the best one ever. So surprised it's not in there. One of them is Aquaman. I'm so sad to say. I thought for sure Aquaman was gonna be in my top 10. I love that movie, and it's one of the best DC movies ever made, period, in my opinion. And I just am so shocked it didn't make it, but it just shows how many great movies there are. Another one is Blind Spotting. If you haven't heard about this movie, check it out. It's a smaller film. That movie is incredible. There's a couple moments in there that hindered it from making my top 10 list, and it probably would have been in my top 5 if it weren't for a few things that happened in the film, but overall, a fantastic film. And one more honorable mention is Hereditary. I thought for sure, no question, Hereditary was gonna be in my top 10. Not even a couple days ago, it was, and things changed, my mind changed, saw other movies, so Hereditary is definitely an honorable mention. I also want to give a shout out to Bumblebee. Freaking loved Bumblebee. Definitely in discussion for that 10 spot. Number 10 movie of 2018 overall is Bohemian Rhapsody. When I was going over my list, I had to get this one on there. Not only did I just enjoy it as a film, what it did for me was just revitalize my love for Queen and their music and just classic rock music. This movie uses the music so well, and the performances are amazing. Especially Rami Malek's performance is incredible. And this movie, just watching it afterwards for the next 2 weeks, even up to this day right now, I'm just playing Queen music all the time, and it just made me realize how great their music is and just overall how great their story is. Even though it's a, adapted biopic and not everything happened 100% accurately that the movie showed, I still really enjoyed this movie, and movies are supposed to have an impact on you, and that's what this one did for me, so that's why it makes my number 10 spot. My number 9 spot for my 2018 films is Solo, a Star Wars story. It was a lot higher not too long ago, but it did make the list, and being a Star Wars film and being a really good movie that I really enjoyed, it had to make this list. Regardless of anything going in, I left my expectations at the door. Any problems I had prior to seeing the film, left it at the door and went in and just enjoyed this movie from beginning to end. It's something that I own on Blu-ray, something that I'm gonna watch over and over again. Whenever I do a Star Wars marathon, I'm watching Solo in there somewhere. It's a great movie that, in my opinion, that means a lot to me, so I love Solo, number 9 on my list. My number 8 movie of 2018 is Searching. I honestly could not believe this movie's on my list. When the trailers came out, it looked like this little throwaway thriller movie that, oh my goodness, that looks like it's gonna suck. I mean, I love John Cho, but this movie just looked like it was gonna be bad. And the thing is, I watched it recently. I watched it in the past 2 weeks, and I had heard it was really good. A lot of people that I listened to online said it was amazing. And I was like, it can't be that good. Let me check this movie out. And it is absolutely incredible. If I didn't have any bias on this list, then this movie is probably the top 5 best movies of the year. It makes my number 8 favorite movies and best movies of the year. In my opinion, you gotta check out Searching if you haven't seen it. My number 7 movie is BlacKkKlansman, another movie that I did not expect to end up on this list. It came out a while ago, and I had heard some really great things about it. But again, I was like, it's probably not that good. I'm definitely gonna check it out, and I was surprised yet again. Spike Lee does an incredible job with this movie. The performances are absolutely incredible. Adam Driver's getting a lot of Oscar attention for Best Supporting Actor in this movie, and deservingly so. The role he had to play was not easy, and I thought he did a convincing and great job in that role. And it's really a film that blends drama and comedy so well together that it's one of those films that has heavy content that's not hard to watch, and that's something that's very difficult to accomplish. So definitely BlacKkKlansman deserves a spot on my list in the number 7 spot. My number 6 movie is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Oh my goodness, what more can I say about this? I've talked about it a lot, but this movie is just, from start to finish, a great film, period. regardless of genre, regardless of animation or live action, great film period. But it also brings us those comic book elements, those things that we're looking for, and just the world building. And it's really the first major comic book film to deal with the multi-dimensional stuff. And I just thought it did a great job at doing all of those things. But the most important thing is it's great characters and great story. And that's why it ends up at number 6 on my list. Number 5 on my list is Black Panther. It feels like Black Panther came out in 2017, but it really came out in 2018. It's hard to not have a recency bias and put movies you've seen recently over this film, but I just had to remember how great it was. I watched it a few times since it came out, and I own it on Blu-ray. It really is a great film. I have some problems with it for sure. It's not perfect, but Michael B. Jordan's performance is freaking incredible. Like, it's a comic book movie, and he brought like an Oscar-worthy performance in my opinion. And just overall, the world building of Wakanda, the action is really good, especially in the first half of the film. And it's just something very different in the comic book genre that we've gotten. So I really appreciated it, and it deserves a number 5 spot on my list. My number 4 movie is a movie I'm so excited to talk about, and that is A Simple Favor. People are probably very shocked that it's this high on my list, but if you knew me, maybe you wouldn't be that shocked. This is a movie that is basically made for me. I love the edginess to it. I love the balancing of genres of thriller, a little bit of, I don't want to say horror, but more on the thriller end, but it has drama, it has comedy. I love Anna Kendrick. She is one of my favorite actresses working in Hollywood today, and Paul Feig is great, especially working with women actors. He's proven that time and time again. He is fantastic at that, and this is a movie unlike any movies that he's done before that I've seen. It shows to me that he can do something other than straight comedy, because even like his Ghostbusters, even though it's technically a sci-fi film, he made it a straight comedy. So this movie proved to me that he can do things other than that, and I just freaking love this movie. I can talk about it all day. A Simple Favor, my number 4 spot. All right, number 3. I'm surprised it survived this long, but A Quiet Place. It came out so early on this year, but it is fantastic. One of the best movies of the year, maybe the best movie of the year when it's all said and done. A Quiet Place, directed and starring John Krasinski, starring Emily Blunt. The child actor performances were incredible, and kind of similar to Spider-Verse, where like, yes, this movie is a horror film, but the thing that makes it so great are the characters, their relationships, and the great storytelling, and just, you know, the things that happen in this film, the way the movie ends and what happens in the third act just make this movie the total package. I honestly think it deserves to be nominated for Best Picture. I love A Quiet Place. It is in my number 3 spot. My number 2 movie of the year, which, man, it should be number 1, but that is reserved for another spot. Mission Impossible Fallout. I don't care if it's just an action movie, a blockbuster, a popcorn flick. It's so much more than that. It is arguably the best movie of the year, and it's my number 2 movie of the year. It's just non-stop action. It takes you on a thrill ride where you're never bored in these movies, and it has all the twists and turns, and it's just the fact that Tom Cruise does his own stunts just adds to the enjoyment of these films. And I think what puts this movie over the top for me, and what puts it so high on my personal list, and what arguably almost makes it number 1 for me, is the performance of Henry Cavill and the character that Henry Cavill portrays and what happens with that character in the movie. I think when all things are said and done and I'm looking, why did this movie end up that way? I think it's because of him, and it just makes me so much more of a bigger fan. But overall, the ensemble cast is great, and just the action, the drama, everything involved, even a little bit of comedy here and there, makes Mission Impossible Fallout a great film, my number 2 movie. And again, if you knew me, it wouldn't be a surprise what my number 1 is, and that is Avengers Infinity War. A few times I had to have a couple other movies challenge it in my mind, arguing with myself whether it shouldn't be number 1 or whether it should be, but when it's all said and done, it is the movie that I enjoyed the most this year, and that's what the movie that should be my number 1. And I honestly think it is a great movie, period. Thanos, this is Thanos' movie, and it tells such a great character arc for him as a villain, and it made him instantly, in one film, you know, top 3 comic book villains of all time. Just shot up right automatically. And I just think this movie is a testament to Kevin Feige and everything that Marvel and Disney have been doing with this entire MCU franchise, and this is the culmination of it. And for me, just being a huge comic book movie fan, love me some Spidey, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man is the best, so Avengers Infinity War, deservingly so, my #1 spot. Alright, well that is my top 10 movies of 2018. A very diverse list. I'm so excited about this list. It was tough to put together, but I'm glad where I ended up. Let me know what you thought of my list. Are there any movies you disagree with? Are there any movies that you agree with? I want to know your thoughts. Are there any movies that you haven't seen that you're just wondering why they're on that list? Just let us know in the comment section. We'd love to hear about it. Again, I am Jacob for Apocalypse Movies, and that was my top 10 movies of 2018.